So I'm not a serious reader because I'm reading The Secret World of Maggie Gray. Well, damn, because sister girl be reading over here. So by the time you guys see this video, there was some discourse around the series, the Drew Collins series by Granger, the first book in the series, The Secret World of Maggie Gray. Okay. And I'm just like, we not finna do that up in here. Okay. We not finna sit up there and say who's a serious reader and who's not, to each his own. Okay. And I want you guys in the comments to tell me what defines a serious reader to you. Because to me, a serious reader to me is somebody who's serious about reading whatever they want to read, period. You just want to read a book. Now, if you want to go and deep dive into all that, that's your business. But that's a serious reader to me. So let's get into The Secret World of Maggie Gray and why some people may not like it and some people might love the series. Okay, this book right here is about a young woman who attends a magical HBCU in the city for mythical and magical creatures, which is called the Underground. Okay, period. That's what this book is about. She discovers that she might be a part of the first family who actually put together, or somewhat put together, the Underground for black mythical and magical creatures. Now, in this space, there is a HBCU. Okay, now when you hear about The Secret World of Maggie Gray, you hear about, oh, it's the Black Harry Potter and it's all that stuff like that. I think that throws people off, okay? Because when you think about Harry Potter, you think about magic systems and little wands and stuff going on, and it's a lot of magic. You're not going to get this with The Secret World of Maggie Gray. Okay, it's very much Atlanta. It's very much urban. It's very much, think of it as A Different World meets Insecure meets Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I guess, with a little bit of the settings similar to Harry Potter. If you're going to go into The Secret World of Maggie Gray thinking that you're going to just see a whole bunch of magic happening between other people or other creatures, you're not going to get that. I'm going to tell you that now. You're going to see magical things like a underground subway. You're going to get the descriptions of what she sees on campus. You're going to see magical things, but as far as like a magic system working and doing things within the realms of the abilities that these special mythical and magical creatures have, you're not going to get that. You'll get like some of it. Think of it as a reality. It's kind of like a College Hill reality TV show type, different world, insecure type vibes. Think of it like that. So in the first book, she attends the HBCU. She is in her 30s. She meets a couple friends. She meets a young man named Nair. And you're meeting people who's attending Drew Collins University for the first time, and they're navigating through a HBCU. Okay? That's all you get. What did you do when you went to college? I was screwing. Going to class and going to the club. That's what I did my freshman year. I'm not even going to cap on you. So you will get that in a book because that's very realistic. Granger's known for writing very chaotic, but it's chaotic that makes sense and it's entertaining. If you don't like chaotic writing and stuff being all over the place and you can't follow, then you probably will not like this series. I don't mind it because I can follow along like that and I like to be entertained. This book and this series right here is extremely entertaining. It's hilarious. It's suspenseful. It's fun. It's just, you're having a good time. Okay. So you're navigating through these students while they attend this magical HBCU, and that's the premise of it. Somebody gets unalived, and then at the end, we have a cliffhanger, and then it goes into the second book, which is The First Family. Now, I don't have the trad cover, but I'm going to put it on the screen for you. This is the indie cover, and it was a thickums, okay? Somebody brought this for me, and I'm so grateful, but I love the indie covers. It's just more adult-ish to me because this is not a kid's read and this is not YA. There's nothing YA about the series at all. So in The First Family, Maggie actually meets the first family because there's a possibility that she's related to the first family and she might be the special being to the first family that can help with something even greater. Okay, as of right now, but she doesn't know that yet. But the first family's trying to weasel their way to get to know this young lady for certain reasons. So this book, The First Family, talks about Nayir's family, the wolf pack, because he's a werewolf. They have all type of drama and foolishness, backstabbing, hating, all type of stuff going on in the first family. Okay, you also meet Asha. Asha is a siren. She was brought up in a system. You get some backstory on why she's the way she is and why she doesn't want to be a member of the sirens when she attends the HBCU, because usually sirens, wherever you go, they become a family automatically. You also meet Susie, who is, I believe she's a witch or she's some other creature, and her relationship with her father, who's extremely flamboyant and a gay man, I believe, that has an attitude and talks very harsh to her. Okay. Is it misogyny in this book? Of course, but there's misogyny in the real world, and nobody socially doesn't talk about it like that. So there's, I believe one of the things that this book talker said was the misogyny, and then there was no social information or reasoning why it was around in the book. Like it was in a book, but nobody was discussing it. I think in real life, misogyny happens and people really don't discuss it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we deal with it every day and nobody's having a forum about misogyny. This book is very realistic in a lot of ways, and it's very raw. So if you don't like that, then you might not like this book. So we skedaddle from the first family and we get into the original title of the third book, which is When the Wolf Loves the Moon. When you read the book, you'll understand who and what the moon is in the wolf situation, okay? This is the book where Maggie finds out that she's the motherfucker. She finally gets an idea of who she is. Two and two is coming together, and there's a moment in this book where she set it off. She set it off on the left and she set it off on the right. Literally. Okay. So in this book, you will see more magic happening, but again, you won't see a lot of magical things and fights and the uses of magic on each other until later on in the book, but it does happen in the third book. Okay. And I'll say that on that. I don't want to say too much about that book there. So then the fourth book is The Mortal Affairs. This is where you get all the answers that a lot of people was like, oh, the first book doesn't have a plot. It's a lot of plot holes. It is. But this is the book that rounds everything out. This is Immortal Affairs. This is a book that centers around Homora and Trevor. They work for the Immortal Affairs, and this is an agency that investigates crimes and things that happen in the underground. So they're like detectives. They're investigators. So if something happened or somebody called the police or something janky is going on, they go in and they investigate it and they handle it from there. Okay. So it's like a police department in some ways. To me, this is like my second favorite book. My first favorite book in the series is The First Family, and that's because you get more of a gist of the characters and where they come from. But this book right here was good. And then you know how I am. If you don't know, if you see any tabs in the book, that mean it was popping. This book follows, again, Homora and Trevor. Homora is a fae. She's kind of like, what's the girl from Scooby-Doo? Penny. That's what I get from Homora. I get very Penny vibes from her. And Trevor is like a cocky detective that thinks he knows everything, and he is a special creature that we find out about later. And yeah, it gets real deep up in here. This right here was so good. You get a lot of questions answered. There's a little more suspense in this book, and I want to say there's a lot more magical things happen. One thing I will say about this series, you will see a lot of people transform in this book, opposed to and using their powers not powers, but they're, well, you can say they're powers in certain situations. Like there's a lot of transformation, magical things that happen in the book. And she also does fan fiction. So she'll say that all this stuff is things that she said. She writes chaotic, she rambles. She started off doing fan fiction, and it's just chaotic, but it's a chaotic, beautiful, suspenseful mess. Okay. The new book just came out, The Alchemy of Souls. I don't have that book yet. It is on Kindle, but Sister Girl here is waiting for the physical because I ordered it and I need to get to tapping. Okay, people are already finishing that 700-page book and it came out Sunday, and I'm just like, y'all some Speedy Gonzalez's because Sister Girl couldn't do it. It'll probably take me like a week or maybe the rest of this month to finish that book whenever we get it. But I just wanted to break down my thoughts of why people might and might not like it. You're cool with just having a good time and just reading it and not having like super expectations and just reading it as you go. You will like this book, and I'm just being very honest. But if you like structure type of fantasy books, or just books that's super structured and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, you might have a difficult time reading The Secret World of Maggie Gray. I read suspense and messy stuff all the time, and I like chaotic. I live for a chaotic book. So that's why I probably enjoy this book, because I also like chaotic TV shows. Okay. I do believe that I'm a serious reader. This book isn't going to dumb you down. Okay. It's not going to be like, oh, you didn't brought your taste down in reading or anything like that. If you're one of those people, I don't give a damn. I do what I want to do and I read what I want. Okay. So I think also too, this particular book talker, I don't know if he knew that the 5th book for this series was coming out Sunday when he decided to make his first hate review. And that was the title of it. And I think just that being your first hate review is a Black woman. You release it on the date of her 5th book. Like, it doesn't matter, because Granger has one of the strongest followings in the Black bookish space. If you know, you know, especially as an indie author. I just thought it was like hate reviewing. Your first hate review is going to be a Black woman's book. I think the name of it just turned me off. And the fact of it is that you're a Black male and you're doing this on the release date. But then again, he did say he didn't know. So that was my little discourse about it. He did say he didn't know that her new book was coming out. And, you know, nobody doesn't want to silence anybody. But I think that there's a way to do things. You know what I mean? Especially in a community where we are censored, we're not taken seriously, and just getting authors to get a trad deal is so difficult. And to have this come out, and you're such a popular book talker, and she's also a very popular author, it only takes one thing for somebody to go back to the boardroom and be like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do this series and we're probably not going to do the next one, you know, because it could just bring a different type of attention. And we already know that us as Black people are looked upon different in these boardrooms. And I think that's what's really everybody's discourse is like, you can say what you want, but to put certain words attached to Black people, just to me personally, we already have to deal with that. That's just like you saying a Black woman is aggressive. That's like the biggest no-no. Or Black people are aggressive. Like, the way we translate aggressive in our world is not the same as how other people translate or define aggressive. Because in other people's world, aggressive is volatile. Like, you're violent. That's the first thing. That's their definition of it. And I'm just saying that from my own experience. So that's my thoughts. And yeah, don't know when this video is coming out, but it's coming out. And have a good day. Bye.